Our I can statement today is I can use a protractor to measure angles. And we know that angles have measures, and we're going to figure out how to use them today. This object you see below here is a protractor. You'll see that it's kind of transparent today, so we can use it to measure angles. And the first thing we need to know is that angles are formed by two rays that share one endpoint. So there you can see I have two rays. And you would probably say, oh, I think that's a right angle, Mr. Kelly. And I would say, I think you're right, but let's check to make sure. So we would put this protractor right on here so that the dot, or the endpoint, we're not going to call it a dot, we're in 5th grade, lands right there in the center. So notice that there's this line right here. Some protractors look different, but there will always be a place for you to line up the endpoint, or the vertex of the angle. The vertex is where the angle is formed, the endpoint where the angle is formed. Now I'm going to take this protractor and I'm going to lay it right over this angle, and I got to put that point on there, and I'm going to line up the base angle right along this line so that it points towards that 180, or you can imagine that if you count these, 20, 10, 0 would be right on that line. Then the other part of the angle, or the other leg, the other ray, is going to point towards the angle measure. And if you look right here, I see that, oh, it lands on 90 and it lands on 90. So this must be a 90-degree angle. So I nailed it. I got a right angle. Now, for different angles, let's see, let's make an obtuse angle. We do the same thing. So I'm going to take the protractor. No, I don't want to move the whole thing. I just want to move the protractor. There we go. And I'm going to put that dot on the vertex, and I'm going to line up the ray so that it lines up right on the 0 line. And then I'm going to watch the other ray and see where it points. And I know that this is an obtuse angle because I can see it. So would I use 40 degrees? Do I think it's a 40-degree angle, less than 90, or is it greater than 90? Well, I think it's greater than 90. So let's look at that pretty closely. And I see that it's right in between 140 and 130. So that's an obtuse angle. I would measure this. Right on that line is 135 degrees. If it was an acute angle, we would use the other measure right there. But this is obtuse, so we use the larger number. All right, we've measured a right angle. We proved that it was 90 degrees exactly. And we have done an obtuse angle, which was 135 degrees. We have to try an acute angle now. So I'm going to draw an acute angle. And notice that I didn't put one horizontal this time because now I'm going to have to turn my protractor. So I'll grab my protractor. Hopefully it doesn't stick to the other images. There it is. And I line up again that the vertex with that hole in the protractor, and then I line up one of the legs, or one of the rays of the angle, along that baseline. That lines up with 180, and we can imagine a 0 right there. Or if we see it right here, if the angle was facing the other direction, it would be 0. Actually, you know what? We're going to flip this angle around so that we have to use the other way. All right, so there, now I flipped the angle around, and now I have to line up that vertex again right there, and I'm going to line up the angle along that 0 line. So now I can see that it's on 0, it's facing the other direction, and this is an acute angle, I can tell that, so it's going to be less than 90 degrees. So whatever number I come up to there, it's going to be the smaller one. So as I look at this, I see that the other leg, so again this is lined up, vertex is right there, and I am going to look at this and say, all right, it lands between 160 and 150. That's way too big. This is an acute angle. It's very small. So I need to use the other numbers, and I see that it's in between 20 and 30, and I see that's 20, there's 25, 26, 27, 28. And then if I count 28, 29, 30, yep, that must be 28. So this is a 28-degree angle. And that's how you use your protractor to measure angles. Ask questions if you do have them, and rewatch the video if it doesn't make sense yet.